It's a little surprising at times when you take a step back and look at all the devices in your home that are connected to the internet. The ability of what we can do with these devices is now unfathomable compared to 10 or 20 years ago. And ultimately, it all sort of comes back to the driving force behind a lot of these components, and that would be semiconductors. What is QQQ? An excellent question. We could like to joke here that it belongs on the Mount Rushmore of ETFs because there's not many that can say that they have a 20-year live track record. What I find exciting is that Invesco QQQ is empowering investors to become agents of innovation across industries, across companies that are shaping the way that they live their daily lives. QQQ is very different in that it's based on a rock-solid partnership with Nasdaq.
The Nasdaq 100 is home to the biggest and most disruptive companies in tech. Semiconductors are really the brains behind all of the computing and innovation that we see across every sector. So they're really the heart of all of that innovation. I would say Microchip, KLA, and Honeywell are all leaders as it relates to the semiconductor industry.
Our offerings have a very deep technical linkages, and as technology transformation has occurred a lot over the last 2 decades, we have been embracing that technology and repurposing our portfolio to align with that.
The end use of computer chips is so varied these days. You have huge data centers, you're managing our social networks and everything we do online. You have things like autonomous driving, electrification, and increasing chip content in cars. You have smartphones, wearables.
In the early years, making it smaller meant you were able to make it less expensive. You're able to get higher performance. Today, it's more important to also think about what kind of functionality can you pack into it so that you can have a single chip or a small set of chips that are able to provide the type of functionality, the type of innovation you need without only thinking about performance and power.
Let's think of a phone we all use around 2005. Essentially, you could make a call in a little screen, but if you flip 15 years down the line, you won't even recognize that the phone looked like that. So what has changed it? It's semiconductor, because it gives much more optionality on what you can do with the compute power, along with the software, the combination of that.
And I think that's what semiconductors do and what microchip products do. It's empowering that innovation.
We say they're innovative because they really commit to kind of long-term development of various themes, right? They're deep-rooted in research and development.
So I don't think of this semiconductor industry in a linear way. I think of it very much as an ecosystem, and each one of the players contributing to that ecosystem. For Honeywell, for example, that can be in their approach to building and industrial automation.
If you see the buildings today versus how they looked many years back, you have face recognition as a primary means to recognize people and make them navigate to the office building, or having new sensors for air quality, behind which is a semiconductor, which is enabling that technology. Across the board, semiconductors have impacted every segment in the last 5 to 10 years' time.
We make microchips. How about that? We're done. What microchip products do is make those products, through the innovation our customers do, into things that can be better, faster, less expensive, more featured. Many of our customers are those who build circuit boards which use semiconductors. Often they are selling to someone else who is then assembling that into a system, and then that system is being sold to an end consumer. You know, there's a part of what semiconductors have been doing on a consistent basis. Every year you bring out more functions, more features. The area of medical technology is one in which semiconductors have increasingly had more and more and more impact in terms of better outcomes that you have, whether that is better outcomes in hospitals where the big types of machinery are used for ultrasound and scanning and various other things, to all the things that are in the doctor's office, to what you do at home. All of those different things require semiconductors.
What KLA and inspection and metrology brings, very high sensitivity inspection tools to detect tiny anomalies in the pattern, tiny pattern defects, tiny particles, all which would kill these semiconductor chips. And that could mean one less smartphone can be delivered because that chip didn't work. as our customers shrink their devices, they introduce new materials, new processes. Every 12 to 24 months, we have to upgrade our tools to serve those challenges. So it's really just continuous improvement and innovation to keep up with the semiconductor advances.
I think if you go 5, 10, 20 years ago and asked, where are we going to be? I mean, people can't really fathom the capabilities that we have at our fingertips. But ultimately, I think it's going to be driven by our desire as a society to be better connected. It's sort of if one of these things where if you want to think big, then sometimes you need to start small.
Consider the fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. Visit Invesco.com for a prospectus with information. Read it carefully before investing.